All right, so far we've created a data graphic to represent N1 department. And you're probably thinking, I hope I don't have to do this for the other departments or as many rows as I have. And the answer is yes, you do not have to worry about doing that. Um, what's really nice is that since we've created this data graphic, you can see it here. It stays in the library, in the data graphic library. And now we're going to connect the rows of data to other shapes, and then we're going to apply the data graphic. Okay, so let's drag over another blank building. You're probably wondering why I just didn't copy and paste this building. I'll get into that just for a little bit. I found that with 2010, SharePoint 2010, that sometimes the values do not get overridden. It could be just errors on my end, but I found that the cleanest way to do this is just to have a blank graphic which has no data tied to it, and then taking that new row and dragging it onto the shape. And as you can see, SharePoint was smart enough, Visio was smart enough to know that when I drug over that new row, it automatically used the last data graphic that I used. Okay, so we had already configured the data graphic for N1 department, and you can see now that N2 is using the exact same data graphic and populated all the different fields. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the other two. And I'm going to place them all out of sorts because I want to show you how easy it is to line things up. There's N3, drag over another building, and let's do N4. Okay, so now we have all four fields. I'm going to try to eyeball it as far as lining them up. You see the smart guides kind of help you, but if I didn't, I could simply select all of the shapes. I'm using Shift and then left clicking on all the shapes. I'm holding Shift and selecting all my shapes. I'm going to the Home tab, and Visio has some pretty cool alignment tools. So Align, I'm going to align them all to the middle, so they're all equally at least aligned. And then I'm going to position them. I'm going to use this Distribute Horizontal so that the spacing in between each shape is aligned and visually pleasing. Okay, so I told you about resizing the canvas. There are several ways to do this. You can go to the Design tab. There's a sizing feature, and you scroll to the bottom, and you can just say Fit to Drawing, and that will automatically kind of size your dashboard or size the canvas to all the graphics that you have within it. One thing I like to point out is that after you resize, as part of the export process, it remembers the view. It remembers the zoom level. Visio does. When you export it, it will remember the current view window. And what happens is if you import this into SharePoint, then your user may not have the same resolution that you're using when you design it, and then the view will be skewed. So I highly recommend, if you want the user to always have the best possible view, is just to go to View and then Fit to Window. Select that as the last thing that you do before you hit the Save button. And we haven't saved to this point. It's really bad practice. So going to create a new folder just for testing. And we'll call this drawing the demo dashboard. Okay, so this covered the basics. In the next video, we will export this dashboard into a Visio 2010 web drawing so that we can utilize it in SharePoint 2010.